धारे जय यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंद जमुना तीरा बनचारि जमुना जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 जय जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सहस्रभायन शिल अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद के इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद के जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सहस्रभायन शिल भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद के अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद के नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर के प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद के श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंडगिरी गोवर्धन के श्री वृंदावन धाम के श्री श्री नवदीप मायापुर धाम के श्रीमती तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी के गंगा जमुना माई के गौर प्रेमानंदे श्री श्री राधा रुक्मिणी श्री श्री रुक्मिणी द्वारकाधीश जी की श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा जी की श्री श्री गौर निताई की श्रील प्रभुपाद की ऑल ग्लोरीज द असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज ऑल ग्लोरीज द असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज ऑल ग्लोरीज द असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज all glory all Guru Angarang ki jai Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjan Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Dena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3rd, Chapter 24, and entitled The Renunciation of Kardam Muni, and text today we are going to read 47. Please repeat after me. Ikshadvesa vihinena सर्वत्र समचेतसा भगवद्भक्तियुक्तेन प्राप्ता भागवती गतिः। इच्छाद्वेषविहीनेन सर्वत्र समचेतसा भगवद्भक्तियुक्तेन प्राप्ता भागवती गतिः। इच्छाद्वेषविहीनेन सर्वत्र समचेतसा भगवद्भक्तियुक्तेन प्राप्ता भागवती गतिः। माता जी। इच्छा desire, dvesa and hatred, vihinena freed from, sarvatra everywhere, sama equal, chetasa with the mind, Bhagavat unto the personality of Godhead, Bhakti Yuktena by discharging devotional service, Prapta was attained, Bhagavati Gati the destination of the devotee, going back home, back to Godhead. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. Freed from all hatred and desire, Kardam Muni being equal to everyone because of discharging uncontaminated devotional service, ultimately attained the path back to Godhead. And purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, only by devotional service can one understand the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord, and after understanding Him perfectly in His transcendental position, enter unto the kingdom of God. The process of entering into the kingdom of God is Tripad Bhuti Gati, or the path back home, back to Godhead, by which one can attain the ultimate goal of life. Kardam Muni, by his perfect devotional service, Kardam Muni, by his perfect devotional knowledge and service, achieved this ultimate goal, which is known as Bhagavati Gati. Thus, in the Bhakti Vedanta purpose of the third canto, 24th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Renunciation of Kardam Muni. So this is final last verse spoken by Maitreya Rishi. Maitreya Rishi giving a comment describing some good quality, transcendental quality of Kardam Muni in this particular verse. So since this is the end of the chapter, and next chapter starts when Kapil Muni starts giving instruction to his mother. The whole situation was this. We know that Kardam Muni, Manu Maharaj, gave Dehuti in marriage to Kardam Muni, and then Kardam Muni begot 9 female child, daughters in the womb of Dehuti. And then Kardam Muni wanted to give up household life. He wanted to enter in the forest. At that time, Dehuti, his wife, approached him and she requested, "My dear husband Kardam Muni, There is no concern for our 9 daughters. In due course of time, they will get their suitable husbands, and then they will go to their respective homes. And now you are also preparing, almost you have taken decision to go in the forest. Think about me, how I will survive. My daughters will go to their respective home, their houses. They will get suitable husband and they will go there. And you are also prepared to live. So how I will be survive without you in your separation? How I can live in this empty or a lonely house alone? Someone should be from your side for my maintenance, who will protect me. And besides that, how I will get liberated, how I can get abhay, fearlessness, who will deliver me, how I will get transcendental knowledge. So someone should be in your absence, someone should be there in my house with me, who can solace me, who can pacify me when I would suffer the pains of separation from you. So directly, or you can say indirectly, Dehuti wanted at least one son who could, in absence of husband, who could remain in my house and you can protect me, you can give me solace. And also many things she has expressed that as a husband who have fulfilled all my desire. I can't think you have given me more than I deserve. I don't consider any better gift from a husband like you. So it was a best gift, better gift you have given me. At that time, the two questions were, who will protect me, who will solace me in your absence? So, and who will give knowledge to me? And she has also regretted that I was not knowing your spiritual glory. Though I have associated with, I have served you, I love you, I have got developed affinity for you, but only that was for my sense gratification, material level. So for that I regret that I have association of personality like you, such a highly elevated personality. So that my love for you, my affinity which I have developed for you, and your association should not go in vain. So she requested and Kardam Muni remained in the house for time being. And again, Lord Kapil Dev was born. And here Srimad Bhagavatam described the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Kapil Dev took shelter of the semen of Kardam Muni, and Lord entered in the womb of Mother Dehuti, and then Dehuti gave birth to Kapil Dev. When Kapil Dev appeared, one time, Kardam Muni approached Kapil Dev because Kardam Muni was well aware that he is Supreme Personality of God. Of course, when Dehuti was requesting him, at that time Kardam Muni summoned every ounce of his spiritual potency and he was ready to give her a supreme blessing. And that supreme blessing was for Dehuti, that you, Dehuti, don't worry, Swayam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna will enter you in your home, in your womb, and he will give you pacification, he will pacify you, and he will give you knowledge as well. So, I said, Kardam Muni was well aware that Kapil Dev, though he was playing a role of his son, but he was Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one day, in Ekant, in a lonely place where nobody was there, Kardam Muni approached Lord Kapil Dev, his son, and he had some nice prayers in glorification of Kapil Dev. And then Kapil Dev also solaced him, gave permission, my dear father, you can go. If you like, you can accept the renounce order of life, sannyas, you can go. And then Kardam Muni left the household life, renounced, and they went to the forest. Here one question arises. What was the need for Kardam Rishi to take sannyas and go in the forest? The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was present in his own house. Besides Supreme Personality, Krishna was, Lord Kapil Dev was in his house. And his wife was such an elevated, fortunate lady. Wife, she has fortune to give birth of Supreme Personality of God. Then what was the need? Why he should take sannyas and go in the forest? Why he should, what was the need? What he will do in the forest? He should remain here. Krishna was a forest people go to search Lord Vishnu, cultivate Krishna consciousness. And here personally Krishna was in our why? What was there any need? Why he should have gone to forest? He should have remained there and served the Lord. Kapil Dev personally was present, Lord was present, and he was aware that Kapil Dev is Supreme Personality of God. Still, he took renunciation of Kardam Muni. He left. So, though he was aware, ample opportunity was there for service, opportunity was there in house, still in order to set an example, ideal example, Kapil Dev renounced the household life. If Kapil Dev would have not renounced household life, then people, if Kardam Muni would have not accepted renounce order of life, then people can get good excuse because Kardam Muni did not renounce the house, he did not leave household. I should also remain there. They will find somebody make, okay, he did not because the Supreme Personality of God was present him. Then people say, okay, my son also, if he is not the Supreme Personality of God, he is a good devotee. My son is good devotee, my wife is good devotee. Then what is need for, I should also not go to forest. So, in order to set an ideal example, perfect example for people in general, Kardam Muni renounced the householder life and he went to forest. When he went in the forest, and then few verses, description is that he renounced the householder life and entered in the forest, and then Maitreya Rishi describes his transcendental qualities, many verses, 4 or 5 verses in glorification of Kardam Muni, how he was elevated personality. And this particular verse talks about his transcendental qualification. Iksha desh vihinena. He was completely freed from any material desire. He was completely satiated in his spiritual life. So iksha means desire. He was completely freed from any material desire and dvesh, hatred. Iksha dvesh vihinena sarvatra samacetasa. Sarvatra, everywhere. He was seeing everyone with equal vision. This quality, samacetasa, in Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna talks about, many times Krishna talks about the samachetsa, like Vidya Vinay Sampanna, Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini, Suni Chaiva Shopake Cha Panditaha Samdarsina. By virtue of a true knowledge, a yogi, a devotee get ability to see every single living entity with the same vision, equally. He sees that every single living being is part and parcel of Krishna, servant of Krishna. So he sees with equal vision. Vidya Vinay Sampanna, Vidya Vinay Sampanne, Brahmane Gavihastini, Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha Panditaha Samadarsina. So Samdarshan, not only Samdarshan, but they are always without cause, without reason, they are Suhrit, they are well-wisher of all living entities. They are always busy in welfare activity of all living entity. Sarva Bhuta Hite Rata. In Bhagavad Gita, so this twice Krishna talks about this verse. How this verse starts. How this verse start that talks about Labhante Brahma Nirmanam Rishaya Kshina Kalmasha Chinna Dvaidha Yatatmanam Sarva Bhuta Hite Rata. So here, Sarvatra Shama Buddhaya, he was able, Kardam Rishi was seeing every living entity with equal vision. Not only that, he was always well-wisher, accordant, without any cause, well-wisher, Sarva Bhuta Hite Rata. He has friendly attitudes to all living entity. And that type of devotee, Sarva Bhuta Hite Rata, they are very much always engaged for welfare activities of all living entity. And in 12th chapter also Krishna talks about Sanniyamendriya Gramam Sarvatra Samabudhaya. Sarvatra Samabudhaya. When Krishna talks about a quality of a devotional service, or highly elevated personality in spiritual life, Sanyamendriya Gramam Sarvatra Samabudhaya. Sarvatra, everywhere with equal vision. And then Chinna Dvaidha Jatatmanam Sanyamendriya Gramam Sarvatra Samabudhaya Te Prapnuvanti Mameva Sarva Bhuta Hite Rata. So while this qualification, when the Sarvatra Samabudhaya, Sarvatra Samachetasa, they become qualified enough to enter in the kingdom of God. That is, once we develop this vision, these attitudes, we become well-wisher of every single living entity. We engage ourselves in welfare activity for all living entity. That quality makes us qualified enough to enter in the kingdom of God. So here, Iksha Dvesha Vihina Sarvatra Samachetasa Bhagavat Bhakti Yuktena. Bhagavat Bhakti Yuktena. Krishna again talks in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati Yavan Yashyasmi Tatvata. Only by devotional service, only by bhakti, one can understand me. What is my position? What is my nature? What is my swabhav? So only through bhakti, bhaktya mam abhijanati, yavan yashyasmi tattva. What is my position? Krishna talks about himself. How I am well-wisher of all living entity, bhoktaram jagyatapasam sarvalokam maheswaram. I am the supreme controller. I am well-wisher of all living entity. I am their Suhridev. then bhaktya, how can bhaktya mam abhijanati? And once that devotee understand my nature, my swabhav, and how I am so beautiful, so opulent, how I am attractive, then bhaktya mam abhijanati javan yasyatmi tatota tato mam tato gyatva visati tadanantara. And then he can enter in the kingdom of God. So here, Maitreya Rishi talking about giving some comment of Kardam Rishi, Bhaktya Yuktena Prapta Bhagavati Gati. Bhagavati Gati. After quitting this body, a devotee cultivate complete Krishna consciousness nicely, then towards the end of life he quits his body, give up this body, and he is given a transcendental body, Parshad body, a body very suitable to live in Vaikuntha planet. With Parshad, he becomes associates of Krishna and he enters. So, Kardam Muni also Prapta Bhagavati Gati. He attained the supreme highest perfectional stage of life. That is entering directly with transcendental body. Could give him this material body, the devotee awarded transcendental body, and with that transcendental body, Parshad Gati, he gets a body similar to associates of Lord Krishna, Jai and Vijay, Nand and Sunand. They are living, always serving Vaikuntha planet Krishna. So that situation, Kardam Rishi get. Iksha Dvesha Vidhinena, his existence was completely purified, whole existence. And then Sarvatra Samachita, he developed a vision, attitudes were all living into the equal vision, not only seeing the equal vision, but always were well-wisher, without any cause, very much anxious, very much desirous how I can serve, how can I help this living entity. Sarva Bhuta Hitera, they developed, and then Bhagavad Bhakti Yuktena, of course, Bhagavad Bhakti was there in his heart, and he got Bhagavati Gati. Bhagavat means Krishna, Bhagavati means related to Krishna, Bhagavati, that related to Bhagavat, Gati means destination. He got the highest perfectional stage in devotional life here, and after quitting his body in the forest, he gave up his body and entered in Vaikuntha planet. So this verse talks the final description about Kardam Muni, and this comment, Maitreya Muni was sitting on the bank of Ganga in Haridwar, and he was imparting transcendental knowledge to Vidurji. There, about description of Vidurji and Maitreya Rishi, about Maitreya Rishi, Agadha Bodham, the length, breadth and depth of Maitreya Muni, you can't measure. Vast knowledge. And about description about Vidur, he was completely observed. Consciousness on flow of consciousness, Vidurji does not go beyond the jurisdiction of devotional service. Always thinking Krishna Bhavana, completely Krishna conscious person. And they are sitting. Maitreya Rishi was imparting knowledge to Vidur, and Vidur was listening. So this is the comment made by Maitreya Rishi. His qualification describes Srimad Bhagavad, Agadha Bodham. The bodh, knowledge of Maitreya Rishi could not be measured. Length, breadth and depth of the knowledge you can't measure. Unlimited knowledge. Of course, he was devotee. He was such a fortunate personality, Maitreya Mushi. Towards the end, when Krishna was binding his earthly pastime in Prabhasya, so Krishna seated and he was giving instruction to Uddhava. At that time, by some fortune, great fortune, Maitreya Rishi also came. So first only Uddhava was listening, Krishna was imparting knowledge directly. Towards the end, at that time, Maitreya Rishi also came there. And now there are two persons listening. One was Maitreya Rishi, Uddhava, and Maitreya Rishi. So he was such a great personality. And this comment, this verse is comment, description of transcendental quality, position of Kardam Rishi. So Kardam Rishi eventually entered, and then next chapter starts how Lord Kapil Dev going to give instruction, imparting knowledge, delivering his own mother, Dehuti. So I should, if you have any question or comment.
Thank you, Maharaj. My question is this, that after Kardama, when he took sannyas, preach? How come? What would be the reason why he didn't, spend the rest of his life? I mean, I could see if he's really old and he had to just go off right at the last, few days of his life and enter into samadhi. But otherwise, it seems like he had years left that he lived. Did he travel and preach? If not, why not? The question is clear or no?
I guess that you were asking, how come that Kardam Rishi, he took sannyas, become preacher, how come he did not engage himself in preaching work? He should have.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he did. I mean...
This is a question.
Yeah.
He should have. So, how come that he was not enthusiastic to preach? Sannyas, taking sannyas means one main duty of taking sannyas is to spread Krishna consciousness, paribrajak. He goes place to place, town to town for preaching. So he took sannyas for renounced order of life, free from household life, now completely 100% for preaching activity, time got. Still, he got all the opportunity. How come that Kardam Rishi did not engage himself in preaching activities? Question is quite clear. So now this point, he has a bigger, better preacher he had left behind. Kapil Dev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so he wanted to retire even in the complete matured age. And when the body gets quite old. So that time exclusively a devotee constant about himself. However, I am not sure. Question is quite clear. I am not answer. I am speaking whether it is correct or not. But he got a better, bigger, competent preacher. His son was there preaching. He did the preaching. Father, you retired. I will take care of. Of course, I will take care of preaching. Deliver my mother, Dehuti. So he did, and Kardama Rishi refrained from the active preaching. Many things. One thing that in Vedic literature also is required that a person may not be preaching actively, but he should cultivate Krishna consciousness, and simply by his presence, people will get, they will surcharge with Krishna consciousness. Like one typical example appears in Vedic literature. Kagbhushundi, the crow devotee, a bird devotee, you have bird, Kagbhushundi, a great devotee whose body was a crow, bird body. So where he was living, in the radius of 8 miles, ignorance, Maya could not enter in that area. Simply his presence. So when devotee presence, simply his presence is good. Sometimes they may not be actively preaching, opening their mouth, but their presence itself. Because Krishna consciousness was emanates from their being, the personality, and whosoever comes near in the touch with, he becomes purified. So a devotee, that some person, they are very responsible, they become full Krishna consciousness. So the radiation of their bhakti service spread in all direction, and people get benefited and purified. Any other question?
Thank you, Maharaj. Earlier, Prabhupada mentioned about the 4 stages of sannyas, Kutichak, Bahudak, Parivrajikacharya, and Paramahansa. So it is known that when one is in the Paramahansa stage, one, like you said, does not necessarily speak, does not necessarily preach actively. We have the example of Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, sitting down in one place. People used to come and he would interact or he would not interact according to his mood. So that is the Paramahansa stage. They don't necessarily actively preach. So it appears that Kardama Muni was beyond the earlier 3 stages, beyond Kutichak, Bahudak, and Parivrajikacharya. It was in the Paramahansa stage. So in that stage, may speak or may not speak.
Oh, thank you.
I was thinking, Archita mentioned Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. When someone asked Srila Prabhupada about the Parampara, that only the most prominent links are shown in our Bhagavat Parampara, and someone asked, well, so what was Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj wasn't a preacher, what was his contribution? What was his great contribution? And Srila Prabhupada shrugged and said, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. So in the same way, Kardama Muni's big contribution, as you pointed out, was his son Kapila Dev.
Okay, see. Anything?
Also, didn't Kardama Muni take a vow of silence? And that was in other words, he did his preaching by not speaking, nonsense, but he took a vow of silence just to focus and meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead within. So he did travel through everywhere, but he traveled in silence, meaning not talking or to other people, nonsensical things, but just focused on meditation of the Supreme Lord. I think we read that previously.
You are wondering, radiation of bhakti was spreading. So people are getting simply by radiation, radiation of bhakti, whenever. The presence itself was good enough to inspire people in Krishna consciousness. Okay, so I think it's 8:30. Anything? Fine. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.